Hey y'all, Scott here!
Hey, do y'all remember that list I made 2 years ago? Probably did, because it's it must have been on my channel. I'm not trying to brag. Yeah, I'll admit it didn't age the best, but I think most of my opinions hold up from it. Mal and Dave are still little creepy dudes I hate to see on screen, and Sammy and Amy both still suck.
Don't at me!
I changed up placement or two, like Sierra being number 4 and another Mystery Mouse Cthulhu. I'll call him out later. But one placement that got people talking was Scott. You know, the guy I put on number 3. Yeah, his fans loved me for that. Got a few responses about it, and got the stands a little riled up. But why? Why do I hate Scott as much as I do? Well, first of all, if you asked that, who watched the goddamn segment. But if you did, and still wonder why, I wouldn't blame ya. The points on him were not explained very well, probably to keep the least brief, and just were worded like shit. And I kind of realized that the fact to fully explain my regrets to the guy, I'm ready to go into his performances in specific episodes. Because 3 certain ones exemplify everything wrong with this character, and why I feel he deserves his number 3 placement. So hey, what the hell? Everyone deserves a second chance of explaining their hot take, so why don't I get one? Y'all ready to hear a more in-depth reason to why this character is trashing this season?
Even if you answered no, I'm going to tell you anyway!
You know, I remember hearing this one quote from Emerald saying,
I genuinely hate it when an episode is so good and ends off with an anticlimactic, pointless, contrived, or predictable elimination.
and Total Drama has a few of these in the past. But this episode I feel is one most applicable to this. Because, well, I really enjoyed this episode. It has some great moments for characters like Joe and Maria, Dawn, Brick, and even Sam at some points. It has an exciting chat that keeps me invested. And introduced Vito, the best of Mike's personalities.
Don't fucking at me.
And one character that shined very well was B. Now, I'll admit, I wasn't the biggest stan for B. Well, yes, he was an interesting idea for a character. I feel he was a bit one note. So the placement he got was justified in my eyes. Oh yes, spoilers, he got eliminated this episode. But it's how he gets eliminated by the Scott Meister that pissed me off. Let's start with this fort shit. First of all, that's not how logic is. The sun doesn't reflect on one material to another and then melt a fort instantly. Second, he pins it all on B, even though it was shown that he was in the fort during this, or at least behind it. Third, how did they, or Scott, know that was B's reflector? Sure, it seems like something he'd make, but why would he suddenly sabotage them after helping them win a challenge before this? Did the reflector have his name engraved on it? It makes no sense. I just believe Scott instantly. Fourth, Sans on that shit. No, he had seen all of that. And don't tell me he was frozen so he couldn't have. His eyes were fucking moving so he could still say shit. How did he not even notice Scott throwing that shit onto the reflector? And lastly, and this leads into the next scene, is it Dawn capable of reading B's aura or some shit? Shouldn't she be able to detect if he had any motivation to do it? Because for the past 2 episodes, she has been shown to be able to read it pretty well. So why does he fall for this? And Scott's little, he hates nature, you know. Speaking of which, that manipulation scene is bullshit. Represents one of his major flaws as a villain. How easily he gets people to side with him. Usually in other seasons, when a villain is trying to gather up votes for another, they usually have to use evidence or prior moments for them in the game in order to do so. And when they try to manipulate a whole team, they have to have detractors, always questioning their reasons. But Scott over here has none of those. He has none of the charisma or cleverness to pull something like that off. But he's able to get the votes on his side anyway. This is because, in order for his plan to work, they had to dumb everyone else down. And you have to resort for that for a villain's plan to work. It's a shit plan. It's so stupid too. I just believe his word on this. You know, he pulled the crappy fort shit. And the reasons they use here aren't clever, nor do they use evidence for prior episodes or good points against the character. They're just shit he pulled from his ass. And don't give me that fact like shit. There's no facts about it. And the fact that B isn't even present there to defend himself just shows how forced his elimination was. Because one person went against Scott's word, it would not have worked. Or maybe you could have someone like Dawn believe him and have Lightning vote for Sam. That way it could be on 2-on-2 vote and a tiebreaker between Scott and B with a 2. Sure, him winning that would be bullshit, but at least it would have shown that this villain is not only a threat, but not infallible. But nah, it is a one-sided vote, because Scott is infallible. And that's not interesting to watch. It's not like seeing a character like Alejandro's plan work through subtle manipulations and good points against the other guys. It's just Beverly's a bad man, and he's gone. But for how boring and stupid that plan of his was, at least it ain't shooting kitchen rats with his pappy. Now, this is where the character really started to get on my nerves. First, let me go over his plan here, since that's what everyone seems to praise him for in the show. His original plan was to gather a bunch of other people's items and pin it all on the new team member, Brick. But then pins it all on Dawn when he just so happens to catch her at a confessional talking shit about him, but more on that stupid shit later. Now, on the surface, this plan sounds pretty alright. Dawn is known to collect shit, so by having her be the one to steal while stretching it isn't a terrible way to get her out. And you know what? People like Maria and that's it do start to question the motive of why he would do it. When Brick was the one at blame. And this is where the compliments end, because the execution of this plan was awful. Let's start with how stupid this plan was even brought up. He just randomly says, "Where's my shark tooth?"
Brick must have stole it.
Which is like the weirdest conversation starting point, a pretty forced way to start it. I also find it weird that out of everyone, and Maria is the one to question it, but whatever, those are nitpicks at best. What I do take issue with is everything else after this. First off, any villain who used confessional snooping as a way to learn about someone's secrets is shit, rule of thumb. It shows that your villain isn't smart nor clever enough to put the pieces together on your own. Instead, resort to plot convenience to get to go on another contestant. It's stupid and extremely forced. That's just problemo numero uno. My main issue with this is how easy the plan just works. Dawn just so happened to not appear when the team was doing the first part of the challenge, as to not have her use the brick accusation. He steals people's items and puts it in a trash bag, which just so happened to resemble the one Dawn used. And people just believe him on a whim, without one person being suspicious of why Dawn would do this, what she gained, or even how Scott said Brick must have done it.
Oh wait, even that doesn't make any sense because of this line here.
I don't know. Brick's the one stealing from everyone. Thief!
Not one single person is there to back up in this scenario, and she is just left hopeless during the elimination, with Scott just getting out of it unscathed. How is it supposed to be entertaining? I'm not impressed by Scott's plan. I'm not loving to hear how conniving he is. I'm just left bored, annoyed, and pissed off how easily this works out for him. I'm also left questioning how no one is suspicious of him. And then, during the elimination, she pulls out a statue, where Scott says, "Out in the open."
Looks like you dug up one of my knockoffs. I do love me some Whitland.
No one questioned this. Get fucked. Ha. That should have been bullet. That should have been bullet.
Now I'm asking, once again, how no one is questioning this guy. He just blatantly pointed out how he laid fake immunity idols and can screw over other teammates. How is no one on this guy? How does no one on this team put the pieces together? Give Heather and Alejandro credit. At least their team knew they were bad news and could put the pieces together. That's what makes a villain and their plan interesting, when they have obstacles in their way to prevent their clean victory. Scott has none of this here and lets to eliminate whoever and however he pleases. It's not fun to watch at all. And speaking of not fun to watch, now, unlike the other few episodes where I hate everything about his actions and plans, here it's a little different. Cause initially, I did like how he got the secret out of camera the episode prior. It was actually a clever and natural way that I was pretty impressed by. But oh boy, is that where my compliments end? Cause this is by far Scott's worst appearance, and for one sole reason. He is just annoying here. None of what this asshole does here is interesting, clever, or funny. This is the episode equivalent of I hate using this term, Squidward torture porn. Yeah, I know the name's trash, but it still applies. Basically, it's seeing a character get shit on throughout the duration of an episode until they get eliminated by the end. The show tends to avoid these types of episodes and lead to shitting on the contestant until after the challenge. But this is just one of the exceptions, because the A-plot is just Scott telling Mike to do what he wants and yelling Zoe a lot.
Oh, Zoe! Oh, Zoe!
And I had to ask, how is this fun? How is this interesting? How is this anything but annoying to watch? His plan isn't interesting, or clever, or good. It's just using someone's mental condition against them in the most annoying way possible. You could argue that Alejandro did the same thing with Tyler and the Duncan shit, but at least there he had to work his way into him and allow Tyler to throw it out on his own. With this, it's just a man poking at another dude with a stick and the threat of letting a secret out. It's not clever, it's not entertaining. He puts no effort into getting him to do what he wants. He just yells Zoe's name and Mike just follows his order. Even when she's literally drowning in a bucket, what the fuck is she going to do? Oh. We're gonna see like where Zoe's drowning and he says, oh, Zoe, what is she going to do?
No, she's just going to easily just get her fucking head out of the water and say, oh yes, Scott.
Well, that's an image I'm not getting out of my head.
Well, is that exactly what you're... Is that exactly
what? It's never fun when a villain does shit on a character throughout the whole episode. It just leaves the whole episode being predictable and not fun to watch if you're rooting for the guy being shit on. Especially since in every case, the guy getting shit on throughout the episode is played as a hopeless victim. Remember, villains, they usually have multiple targets to deal with because almost everyone's on their ass. Alejandro would usually do this kind of thing, sure, but it's executed well because, for one, it's not the entire episode's duration focused on dunking on a character, and two, he always uses the character's inner flaw against them to manipulate them. You know, something interesting. With Scott, it's just watching a dude poke another guy with a stick. How is this entertaining? Even when he is given obstacles, he uses this or his condition against him to do what he wants. And that's not fun to watch. And who am I supposed to be rooting for in the situation exactly? If it's for Mike, the whole episode shits on him that kicks him out at the end. I'm not supposed to love to hate Scott like any other TD villain. I'm just annoyed and bored by his plan here. And the way he votes for him isn't interesting or satisfying. He just so happened to win the Pick Mike Award. And it's so predictable. The dude was shitting on him throughout the whole episode. Who the fuck else could it be? And for such a big character scene to be voted off that disrespectfully just leaves me pissed off. And that's a good way to describe Scott in this season. He is not clever, he is not interesting, and he ain't funny. He is just an annoying little shithead whose plan's always going on a ride, who never gets a shit thrown towards him until it's too late. I don't like watching him. I think he pushed through the season for me. I'll still rewatch season, of course, but these episodes are just ones I'm left annoyed and not entertained with at all. All because of this character and his stupid amount of plot armor. And, because apparently I need to say this, if you do find him to be a good villain, that's fine. I'm not saying you're any less of a person or that your opinion is objectively wrong. And at the end of the day, it's a cartoon character, who the hell cares? I could just never like the villain, even as a child. And if that's a hot take, as some of y'all claim, well then I guess it's one I can defend. But I'm not done yet. Remember when I stated that I left a character off this list? Well, it's time to reveal that mystery Muscatool! Roll the clip!
Bring it on!
Now this is what you're gonna shit on for my list. I even mentioned it in my mouth segment. How the hell did I forget to put him on? This could have been to the dumb arc they were having with him, but also giving Lord a mouth.
How are you this dumb?
Now, Duncan was always one of my favorite contestants in almost every season. He represents what a great character in the show should have. Great jokes, great synergy with the cast, and a great foil to villains and Courtney. But you see those qualities?
You won't be needing them.
Because All-Star decided to take those away in favor of dumb shit. Remember when I said Trent had the worst derailment? Yeah, I remember being stupid too, because this character is
Far, far worse.
never has a character been so nerfed to total drama, it kinda impresses me, honestly. Where the hell do I begin? How about we start with this stupid Courtney plot? You know, the character he never cared about when writers gave a shit. The one he practically broke things off with in Action and World Tour and hasn't looked back since. Yeah, he just suddenly wants approval now. And I have to ask, why? This is a dude who never cared what people thought, let alone Courtney. So why would he care about how she views him this much? To the point, it's the only thing on his mind when he's around Gwen. And as for Gwen over here, you were also pining over Courtney's forgiveness throughout the season. To the point where it's your only reason for joining. So why the hell are you getting on ducking him for this and breaking up with him for it? Oh yeah, that's the reason they broke up. Yeah, told her I was never really good with their ships, I realized that. But this is one of the biggest ships in the entire series. So why in the hell did they break it up so disrespectfully and in such a forced way? And that's the only reason Duncan says to Courtney. Because after the breakup, he had never once mentioned her name again. Because now he's on stupid plot numero 2. That being the nice guy plot. This plotline is so stupid and makes no sense for the character. Let me preface what I said before. This is the dude who never cared what people perceived of him, nice or otherwise. He gave it a shrug at most. Sure, the bunny shit had him worrying a little, but he didn't go out of his way to prove that he still had an edge or whatever. Yeah, but All Stars blow, so I guess what people think about him. With that being said, I do like some of the jokes he has here.
Huh?
It's not a bunny, it's emotional graffiti!
That's for him not being your boyfriend when he kissed me!
They're fighting over me.
Check it! I had to fight a crazy monster to get this egg. It was half lion, half bear, half poison.
I'm only borrowing this egg. I promise I'll bring it back. Now you got me crying too.
When do you punch the budgie in the face?
Some funny jokes should not sacrifice what a great character Duncan was. Everything that made a character great and funny and good was gone in favor of the stupid plot. All the great character dynamics of Zoe, Cameron, Alejandro, and Gwen all just had to be sacrificed. And when he does get some good interactions and a plot with Mal, it's never utilized well at all. Now that we all agree he's a terrible character in the season, where would I rank him? Well, I'd say just below Amy and Sammy at number 6. I find those characters worse because they represent a problem to new season's format. And I find Sierra worse because she personally annoys me in that season. I don't like her. At least Duncan can make me laugh. So yeah, those are all the mistakes I made up for. Except for the mic quality, but whatevs. Will I make another list like this? I think so. Probably. Maybe.